ki khubor ka bate si TV. Lawan Rashapi taka Frank Motors. Booking open for the new Nexon. Visit Frank Motors or call 7045207973.
MIT University of Meghalaya. Our admissions are now open for the academic year 2024-25. Explore our best courses, experience global collaborations. Apply today.
Kinna kidiki laway jeng zai benriu kumda Kyndon kami ke jingya dana la yeng ber kumju na ke emlang salang kat kum ke juk menta ke jingem ki kinna kalong ka shong si shisha haba phai haman la kaliang kum kinong shong shnong ke ber ke jing kit khle Kyndon kam ban tili khna ba ki kinna ke yo e ka laway ba phrna ba ke jing shong shngan kumban chupen ku bor shu shu e ki kinna banya da ha kaliang ke jing sha thombor ha kalong rin yeng ke jongki ka an bakar pang tam la thau ka sarkar haus na maharaja khat ar ha ka bala bin shat kerteng kum ka POCSO Act araja khat ar Day halor kani ban pinso thu janai bahan du kinong yalam shnong kumju ru yiki pat ba ka Meghalaya State Commission for Protection of Child Right kala plai pat ba sa Ktien Khasi yiki Kyndon an jong ka POCSO Act do menteri sarkar ba pet yakatna social welfare ba polling do ka POCSO Act ka an ka kerpang tam na ka benta ki khinna ki besha thombor ha ka long rin yang ka jongki kat kum kani ka an ki khinna ki kin thop ya ki ba ha po ka khat prasnam karta khlam don kanu kanu ga jinga pher apne gishin rang ne kin thai
You know, there are warriors in the field, frontliners, who deal with POCSO every day. And they're the ones who have developed systems and they've developed language, they've developed their own terms, to deal with POCSO cases. And so we salute them, whether it's the police or the DCPOs or the courts, everybody is involved. And they have come up with their own language to identify body parts, especially, and so on. So we are thankful for them. But then regarding, what we are expected from the Commission, a lot of people, they call us and they ask us for IC materials, or to explain more about language and terms and so on. So we came upon the idea that we need to have a Khasi. It has been there in the Commission before also, but it did not come to fruition. So the Khasi translation of the POCSO Act, we also, it's in progress right now, in process, the Garo translation of the POCSO Act. So, when we started, it was about a year ago. How to go about this? Because a lot of people, as we said, have evolved their own systems of like language and descriptions and so on and so forth. So we came upon this thought, and we're very thankful to one of our partners, the MIG, Meghalaya Institute of Governance, and our dear friends over there who sponsored the first workshop that we had from the Commission. And that is a workshop on how to translate the terms. And some of our friends, Professor Streamlet and others also were there. And, I didn't realize it would be so difficult. To translate the terms into Khasi, I realized that we had more slangs than anything else. And it was quite appalling. we couldn't, I couldn't grapple with it, So it was like an eye-opener for me personally also, that we didn't have, a proper language. It was mostly slangs. Then it really made me to think about this. The fact that there are many words which are taboo. We don't speak about them in public, or they just use as slangs. And that to me is very concerning, because if we don't own it, if we don't identify our body parts, then we shame it. So this is something concerning, because it is high time that we have a language that we can talk with certain kind of decency and integrity, a language that can be used safely by all. Some words are very, very hard. You know that. Many of you who are Khasis over here, you would know the words are so hard and it's difficult to pronounce also. So that was one of the biggest challenge that we had. And I'm sure many who have tried to translate also the terms, they find that difficulty. But for me, it's like, if you don't own it, if you don't identify it, then it becomes something in the shadows. It becomes a taboo. And that's why a lot of things happen in the dark. I mean, when I'm literally, when I say that, I mean that it can cause a lot of shame and guilt. And we don't speak about, like, say, about sex, and we can't teach our children sex education. The whole package. So this is the first thing that we did about a year ago. It took a while, but I'm so happy and grateful that we had some certain people who are really interested in bringing this forward. So I want to acknowledge basically 5 people over here, though there are more. The person and the team who translated, who made it in truncated form, the POCSO Act. It's very difficult, and we can't do it without the court, actually, without the permission of the court. So we just did an abridge, as you say, Kyndon an. That means only a bit. So the thing is that we just took it so that it can be disseminated everywhere.
So the first POCSO case in Meghalaya was registered in the year 2013. And taking that as a baseline, we have taken our data to reflect 10 years, which ends in 2023. So just to give a brief highlight, there were, in the 10 years of the POCSO Act in Meghalaya, there are a total of 2,566 cases in the state, out of which there are still 1,984 cases still pending in the courts, in the various courts of the districts in the state. There are 11 POCSO courts in each district, barring East and West Khasi, which is a newly established district. The rest of all the districts have a functioning POCSO court. We find that the maximum number of cases have been increasing on a year-wise, with the maximum number of cases being reported in the COVID years of 2020, 2021, and 2022. Of which 2021 has shown as the highest number of cases registered, totaling a number of 378 cases. When we look at the percentages of cases, we find that East Khasi Hills has the highest number of cases, which registers at 28% of all the cases in the state.
This act serves as a very powerful tool to keeping our children safe and sound. I think it is important to make our society aware of this act and the safety and security it offers to our children. There is a stigma when it comes to child-related sexual offenses that may sometimes lead to being silent about the crime that comes from feeling shameful and not wanting to dishonor the family name. It is important that people who uphold the law are sensitive and compassionate about these cases. Maybe cross-examinations, practices that are child-friendly so as to create an atmosphere of trust and dignity, especially to the ones suffering from such offenses. Kaan kebadan kam, kaan kebakerpang. Bakani ka kepentik na, ya ka jingsnya jungki kelung, na ka jingsya tambor jang khti jang kiri bangman. Ki kuon ki balong ki maulanai, ki lawai jang ka jait benriu. Kuma keren menebi kong thelen panbo. Ngoong mangilay bengi don ki rural areas don kisnong. Kabangi susi habangi pet. Ka age ka baraday man pet para. Hap man pet kun. kanu ka jing smok ya ba ni kermen scam baling ba kani ka ak kabante lakam nam ta ki baro ki jing sniu ni nget scam bakan wan rapat kata ka jing suk ka jing shngan na ka banta ka lawe ki khun jangi hang ni don ki kme ki kpa ki badon ka banta ka bakraw ban kit ban ba entang ki khun ki kti rengi pen na ka banta ka lawe jo ki khun ki kti ba lingba kani ka program ka pila aila dia ngakum ke EM in charge ba na kaliang jo ka district council ka basmokhia na ka banta ka jing sha ban ben na mar EM shisha ka por jo ka jing ka jing le ka jing sha thambor habangi pe sau dong sau kun ngim na ban den nam ta ki paro henrai na so ban ong ep ka kamram ru jong ki no hi kai high school ban pen rong na ka banta kani ka ai kladon kam shibun ban pen smok thu la ka long ni ki department ki paper ni don kam ka jing lang ni don kam ban ya smooth thu bante ya ka ta ka ying ka jongi ha ta mo siang pas kem kanang bagi kuan ki kti ki jongi Kyndon ka ta ka future ka bright future na ka banta ka lawe ka jongki hiru ban ni ngit scam baladang ni don ka ta ka mensem ni la pat ban wan ra ka jing suk ka jing shngan amtang ma ka society ka bangi don kam tam ki shnong ki thao bat kam tam hak Kyndon ki kanshot ki nong Kyndon ba ki khapsor kumjuru hasor hi barokowe.
Allow me to say that having this translated version of the Act is one step forward. It might not be one step ahead because we will still have to catch up with the many challenges, but it is definitely a step forward because we are trying to reach out. Getting a translated version of the Act means reaching out, giving accessibility to people to understand what the Act is all about, and at the same time creating awareness. When we see accessibility and awareness, I just would like to just mention something. Before sitting as a director of the Academy, I was also given charge as a special judge of the POCSO Act. So these are there are challenges which the court faces. Number one is when a victim turns hostile, or a victim is scared to come to court, or a victim also runs the fear of being stigmatized because of her position as a victim of sexual abuse and sexual exploitation. And furthermore, it is also a challenge for us in the court where sometimes the victim also fails to understand what is abuse, or rather fails to identify what is sexual abuse. So I believe having a translated version of this Act will enable many stakeholders, most importantly community holders, as in the leaders in the society. We are privileged to have Kong Magdalene here, who's also another leader who can always spread the word to the communities, and yes, parental guidance. In many cases, we fail to take up cases, we fail to get conviction rates because parents do not understand the abuse that their children have been subjected to. And I think it is not because they want to cover up, it is because they are not aware of what the protection this Act can give. So having this Act be translated in the local language, I think it will enable parents to understand, enable parents to come forward. Because another challenge where we have less rates of conviction is because there are less cases being reported.
That anyone who comes to a hospital after an abuse on her life gets the right attention, timely attention. There is a big myth that is also circulating, rights of rape victims. This again is something we have to sit and talk about. And Madam Yaman, I look forward to working with you to ensure that we simplify even that. Many young girls, women in general who get raped in our communities do not know how to access legal aid. This is something which I feel we must zero down, and we must ensure that the Department of Law has the correct protectors of law. We must ensure that our APPs, our PPs in the districts are aware of the grave responsibility that each of us have to the protection of women in our communities. I want to thank one and all who are here. Madam, The calendar that I have inaugurated and made public today is a calendar with a difference. I'm so honored that we have a thinking commission now, a child commission that knows what to talk about and what to address. We, as leaders and public representatives, give you our commitment. We will work hard and we will make sure that whatever needs to get done, gets done. With these few observations, I wish that there will be more good things that will happen, and I wish that our commissions, both the Women's Commission, the Child Commission, all our protecting agencies across the districts function efficiently and make sure that every child, woman walking on the street knows that there is an iron hand that will deal with these atrocities that continue to occur in our homes, in the four walls of our homes, in our communities, in schools, in the streets, and we will fight together. Just before we once again pronounce the Women's Day, World Women's Day, we must make sure that we act and bring into action all kinds of action that needs to be taken by a community.
Ka daw ko kong san hi kalong ba kini ka an ke ba la introduce hakastem al-hajar khan ar ba mut ba benda kala pala hostem Kyndon ha Ktien Jongi de ki babun ki nong song snong ki ba menang ni ka Ktien pareng kim tip e ta spang ko POCSO ki shu sngo ka ta ka lek ndai kim tip kumno ba ki provisions ki Kyndon ki Jong ka an tika jing kong san bare bangi Pynkylla Khasi kalau baro nadu ki nong charge nong ki school bat ki balang kumtat teter kini bantip bat ke melang salang tadi ban sungtu ba kajing kini kajing le be ijot kajing le ben yaki kena yaki kelung kalong ka kamsniu ka ba shirkai ba tiel lara kila puli pada kani an Ktien Khasi kabut Kyndon syu kata ka daw ban ong ba namar ba kim tip ya ka an de ki pen kenya ka ta ka bangi pen kelas Ktien Khasi ni kwa ba kani ka an kan poi saboro ki snong ki thau kanang ba ki pa ba kim tip ba ka jing le ben ka ding le bi jot ya ki klung ki kena ka dei ka offense kaba shirkai bah kaba ki provisions yang an Kyndon kaba kentup ya kajing set along bat kajing pensistem we beda ki provisions yang an tadi kebagi ongga dissemination of information kajing sapriang ya kajing tip kalau kepada kam hai ngi de lingba jong kini ki satas ki bangi Kyndon ngin pentikena ba lingba jong ki CDPOs ngin pentikena ba ke copies jong kani ka translation ke pasha boro ki shong ta.
Citizen first is our motto. We believe that our citizens need to be connected with government for faster and efficient service delivery. I am happy to announce that we are coming up with a dedicated CM helpline call center